Welcome back. Today we're going to be doing Verosika Mayday from Helluva Boss series. I chose a Nefra of the Nile. I removed her nose, face paint, and hair plugs. Now we just have to paint the whole entire body pink. I started this project a while ago when they first aired the appearance of Verosika Mayday. I drilled a hole for where her tail is going to go. Now to sculpt the horns out of air dry clay, and then set her aside and work on the rest of the body. I tried to do the tail out of epoxy sculpt, but I failed miserably, so now we're going to do it out of Warbla. And as you see, it came out much smoother and I can reposition it. I'm just strengthening up the base of the tail so it could be just a little thicker and more stable. You'll see my nails change a few times because I took so long to finish this project. I just don't know what was the delay. I think the tiny setbacks I just wasn't emotionally in the mood for. Her body kept chipping when I was doing the hand painting. And then when I picked her back up, I had actually got a airbrush gun. I printed some shoes for her as a base, and now we're going to start the wings. They came out pretty good, made out of Warbla. Once again, strengthening up the base to make sure that it's sturdy. I took a second pass at her horns because I just wasn't happy with the size and proportions, so I used my handy dandy nail builder. Still getting the hang of using my airbrush, but it's definitely quicker and I love the even coat that it gives. Starting out with her sassy lips first because I wanted to try to get an expression with her kind of a smile line, almost like she's seething at you. Using watercolor pencils first to make an outline, and then using gouache to fill in the rest so that I don't have to worry about repainting or using acetone to remove it. I could just use water if I make a mistake. You gotta love this little heart. I don't know if it's supposed to be a birthmark or just a cute little thing that is on there. She gives very much Aphrodite vibes, but of hell. It might be a little hard to see, but I'm outlining everything in red this time because I wanted to make sure that the proportions of the pupils and irises and eyebrows alignment would be semi-perfect. Which way do you guys do it? I find it the easiest to have proportions wise is to do it the triangle way. It just seems to get a cleaner star for me, but I'm kind of curious, do you just freehand it from point to point or do you do the triangle method? I think I'm quite satisfied about how it came out. Any adjustments I make, I can always make before I do my first layer of Mr. Super Clear. Now we be brave and go in with the black. Black always seems to have a trouble coming back off of lighter colored skin tones. So I always try to use it very last if I can help it. But she is a cartoon character, so she does have a lot of black, and we're just gonna have to bite the bullet. These eyebrows gave me a lot of trouble because they're not exactly thick and they're not exactly thin. And then they have expression in them, so I struggled a little to get them even, and I contemplating on cheating to make it kind of like the Dwayne Johnson eyebrows, but I got it right eventually. Even though her face was very simple, I really enjoyed actually doing her face. Though the outfit that I am basing this particular version of Verosika on is in a nightclub and their eyes glow green, kind of equivalent to when animals have a light shine bright on them in the dark, I decided to do her eyes as they were during the daytime because lighting plays a part in her eye changing color. I tend to just do the character in the daylight. Doja just left this piercing white circle. It was such a small detail that the character designer put in, and it makes it just so piercing and lovely. You can't forget the small black lines on the edge of her tail that make it look like a heart, and the heart on the tips of her wings. So we're going to paint those in real quick. Why I'm using the smallest brush alive to do this, I don't know. I just guess I was in the moment, didn't feel like switching. But I'm not going to make you watch it. I cut out patterns for the iron-on vinyl, and now I am applying them to the skirt. I tried the skirt literally 3 times. You don't believe me? Don't worry, I'm gonna show you the other failed attempts. So to stop fraying and just to make a crisp line when I cut, I turn it around so that I can put fabritac glue on the back end where I'll be cutting. It just makes everything neat already, almost like a fray cut, but it's not necessary. It's just to keep everything solid and crisp. I found that method really helpful while cutting. Yep. Failed attempts. But we got it right. We got it right eventually. So all that matters is that we got it right eventually. See? Cute. Okay, so I did some research, and it wasn't a black shirt and it wasn't a solid shirt. It was a mesh burgundy type, which I only was able to see like for a brief moment when they introduced her, that it was 2 different colors, even though in the scene that she is singing, it is the same. Ooh, look at this, magic. Sparkly collar. Okay, so I was really scared about this. I thought it might burn through the sheer fabric, but it didn't. So yay for small victories of using this bedazzled gun. I cut out the pattern off camera because my camera died. To be honest, my camera died and I was impatient, so I kept on going. This is just a watercolor pencil. It's actually like, you don't need a fabric marking pencil in order to mark your fabric because this is a water soluble pencil. I wouldn't suggest going very hard on it, but for a light trace like I'm doing here, that also is going to be covered up either way. It's very handy. I'm doing the same technique that I did with the skirt. I'm putting the heart there and then turning it around and putting fabritac glue on it. More iron-on vinyl. And I just keep triple checking to make sure everything is going to be aligned, because once it's on there, it's on there. There's no getting it off clean. So I'm satisfied with the placement. I'm going to go ahead and remove all of the plastic that is on top of iron-on. This is what we got. We just have to line them up as good as we can. Yeah. I think that, yeah. I sewed it off camera because watching sewing is a little boring for some people. If you want me to show that, then that's fine. Let me know in the comment section. But for now, I'll be taking it out. Turning it inside out very carefully with my pliers because I don't want to overstretch the vinyl, because it won't re-stretch into this place if it's too stressed out. It fit on our model just fine, so now for the real thing. Once again, using the technique of putting fabritac glue on one side so that it will stiffen the cut. It tried to do it for a second, but I fixed it. I secured the bottom of the shoe with fabritac and thread, and so it was very helpful for keeping the form of the fabric around the resin shoe and also keeping a structure for it to hold on to and not just have a smooth surface. I just wanted to show you this quick stitch to show you what kind of stitch I used and how it looks after I'm done. Now to clip off the excess fabric around the heel to get a crisp, so that I can glue the fabric to the heel using some fabritac glue. It should hold nicely even though it doesn't have the fabric there, because I'll also still be stitching it together. I took off her wings just to get the shirt on a little better, and then cut holes where they are going back in. They were getting a little wobbly with just the Warbla, so I'm putting glue around it and in the hole in order to make it more snug. Very faint pink and pink hair combination. I just love watching the dye go into the water. It's very satisfying. So I'm following the directions, and I put a teaspoon or tablespoon, whichever it says on the back, of dish soap, and then I waited for it to come to a certain temperature and submerged it all at once. When you're doing dyeing, just remember that it's always it always appears darker than it actually will be once it's dry. And I got her hair on the first try, but not so much her fur. So we're gonna try again and hope that we get her exactly the same color as her. And we did it. Different fabrics dye at different speeds, so that was the adjustment I had to make. So I know that ponytails usually have a problem staying upright, as most people in real life put some kind of pins to stabilize the ponytail so that it doesn't slip. So I actually made this little shiv to simulate bobby pins and to keep her hair upright without needing to put so much tension on her hair, being that her whole entire head is painted. Right here, I'm just going to clean up the edges and lightly press it. Usually I would do a bone straight, but because her hair is so fluffy and has a bit of texture to it, I'm not going to do it all the way down. Then we're going to make a ponytail hairpiece, because I figured that would be the easiest way to get it concealed and functional. So I'm just going around with fabritac glue and hot glue. Slowly going down towards where the base of the ponytail will be. And now it's full. We just have to add that one streak of pink. Don't worry, this will all be covered up by the hair that will gather at the ponytail to make the flyaways and in the actual photo. I usually don't paint the scalp because the yarn is so thick that in the way that I apply it, you don't ever see it, but I decided to do it this time just in case, because it's a ponytail and I'm not going to put a lot to gather into the ponytail like I usually would. Now I'm just applying the yarn wefts. I don't use glued edged wefts. It just seems like an extra step that I don't want to take. So directly onto the scalp it goes. And I'm going to just continue that all the way around the crown, all around the edge of her hair line. I'm just going to apply this layer. Getting around her horns wasn't as tricky as previous times that I've tried to do hair around horns, which was very pleasant. I struggled and really debated if her hair was pink because it was a shadow of her hair or if it was actually pink. After looking at a few scenes, because I mean she doesn't have her own episode, hopefully she will at some point, I noticed in the daylight, no matter what she's doing, it's still there, it doesn't shift. So I declared that it was the actual like streak. So I'm just creating that middle part that she has. And once again, keeping the area really fluffy. She has like, it's almost like a wavy, fluffy hair that she just left out of the ponytail, which design-wise is really helpful for the horns, I have to say. Because doing a ponytail slicked back on horns isn't really fun. It looks a little awkward. Putting this face down and then flipping it so that we can hide any of the crease, so that we can make a part. I'm just doing this all the way around the horns as well as the edges of her scalp. I'm double checking that when everything's flipped up, it will look proper and neat, and there's no bald spots because those are a pain. I did put a thin layer of yarn around the crown of her head so that it would help with any thinness or transparency. Sticking her. I pre-made a bigger hole for the toothpick to go into, and trimming away any excess, hiding the toothpick, making sure it's really, really secure. Gathering up all the excess and really making sure before I tie it that it is going to not have any bald spots. This was a weird position because the way I do my doll's hair is basically I stand them on my lap and put them on the edge of my table, and that gives me an angle where I could see everything, almost like a hairstylist has you in a chair. But I had trouble trying to figure out how am I going to record this without you guys literally looking in my lap, which I felt like would have been a weird angle. But I think I got a good angle-ish. You let me know. Let me know if this angle is okay. I always do the hair with it attached to the body because I'm worried about messing up the face paint. So I usually just put down something soft for their face. And I see one little area I had to fix, so we went ahead and fixed that before we tied it off officially. And I'm pretty satisfied with that. I mean, I know the ponytail is going to cover it a little bit, but still, you don't have to do anything over here. You do it with your whole butt. So now I'm just going to go ahead and clean up the edges so her hair goes to a point. I'm cleaning up her edges so that everything goes to a point like it would in a cartoon character. I tried to interpret the almost random cut in her hair, and I think I didn't want to cut it so it would be a point there because I felt like that was awkward. I don't think she has necessarily a point there. I think it was just how they conveyed a wave. And so I'm going to go ahead and try to manipulate the hair to do that as well. And I'm just going to keep on making points, and I made a little concoction off to the side of water and Mod Podge to make everything stay crisp and clean. And I'm just going to keep on styling it until I'm happy with it. Feel free to tell me what your favorite character is from the Has Been Hotel series and the Helluva Boss. I don't know if people really watch both, but I've been a fan for a while of both. Give our girl some 3D lashes and do her hair tie with a heart. And with that, she's all done. She photographs really well in any light, which I wasn't expecting for her to do in any light. I mean, look at this. With slight blue, off with no blue. I mean, there's just endless possibilities. Any angle, she looks great. Ugh, in love. Let me know if there's any other characters from the shows that you would like me to do. I'm going to try to get this signed by the voice actress, Cristina Vee. But with that, thank you so much for watching to the end. Thank you so much for subscribing. You guys are amazing. See you next time.